Hello and welcome to After the Flag here from Misano as we bring you all the action here from the first day of testing. Hello and welcome to the paddock. We're live here on Tuesday post-Misano test in between the two races here of Misano 1 and Misano 2. I'm Steve Day. I'll be shortly joined by Matt Burt, who will be legging it over from the commentary box at some point, and we'll be crossing live to Simon Crafar, who is hopefully going to bring us some reaction from all the riders as well. Of course, we had some radio communication tried out for the first time here today. A lot of reaction after what happened here on Sunday as well, where Andrea Dovizioso was the surprise name on top of the World Championship. The test ended today with Maverick Viñales fastest overall. He went out to try a few new things, soft tyres in, and a 31.5 to be fastest, just as he was on Saturday, and he'll be hoping that he can certainly put things right going ahead. And there was some promising signs for Nakagami and Johann Zarco late on as well. Lots of things tried out today as well post Sunday's race. We wondered whether today's test would be rather quiet after what we saw on Sunday, but as it happens, quite a few things were tried out there, and Yamaha certainly came along to the party with far more than we expected. Let's cross over now to Simon before we get the interviews coming in and before my good colleague Matt Burt joins us. Simon, a really interesting day here today, which has seen Maverick Viñales top, but that's not really the story. There's so much that's gone on, so many teams and riders that have tested things. What stood out for you in terms of who's tested what today?
Okay, I would have to say that Yamaha, you're right, was super interesting because they came out with that new carbon fibre swing arm. Well, first of all, the exhaust, you know, as crazy as it looks. Then, you know, the Mirigali mentioned to me that it was a throttle connection that they were after and top end speed. Yeah, then the carbon swing arm. Like Yamaha have had a few carbon swing arms before and they haven't worked. They've ditched them. And this one, Valentino made 2 runs out, changing swing arm height, pivot height, before giving it to Maverick's side of the garage. He tried it, and then last of all, Maverick tried the exhaust.
In terms of the riders that are coming up to join you shortly to have interviews with, is there anyone in particular that you're particularly looking forward to hearing from or quizzing after today's action?
I'm really curious if KTM made some steps forward with that turning, you know, to make it work here. Because my gut feeling is like, you know, it was so obvious that the KTM was good at Brno in that low grip. And then Austria, with those long straights, acceleration, rear grip, then good braking at the other end. It was, again, one of the bikes to be on, you know, one of the strongest ones. They've come here and they've struggled a bit. And this track is shorter straight, so they can't use that V4 advantage-wise. And it's high grip, so they can't use their advantage of working in low grip situation. And if they've made a step, which Mike Leitner said they are working on, trying to get the chassis better, I think it's turning, one of the things holding them back. If they've improved that, they had a new chassis here as well, it's going to be one of the strongest bikes on the grid, you know, if they can fix that. So, and yeah, they've got a little bit of time this weekend to improve it again, but yeah, let's see what the riders say, whether they're happy with the step forward. Also, Ducati, Tardozzi mentioned that, yeah, it wasn't a good weekend. Dovi found something today, so let's if Dovi believes he can be fighting for the podium this weekend.
What we do know, Simon, is that it looks like, as ever when we're doing back-to-back races this year, the field generally bunches up more, which is certainly exciting from our perspective. But just at the end of the session there, when myself and Matt were in the commentary box, you spoke to Paolo Bonora, and it sounds like Aprilia are trying to make steps forward as well. So hopefully, at some point soon, we'll have all 6 manufacturers actually gunning for glory.
You know, I heard you and Matt mentioning Carl Crutchlow wants to get on that bike for next year. And I was thinking, he might time it right, because Aprilia have got a brand new bike that they're sorting out this year, and they're hoping to have the 21 bike ready for end of year and winter testing. And that thing's looking really promising. If they can get, the engine guys are working right now, on improving reliability and horsepower. That could be a really good bike towards the end of this year and into next year. As Paolo Bonoris said, that the chassis is good. It's just the engine of the last piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so we're going to leave it there because I know that the queue of riders will be coming through shortly. So we're going to let you crack on, and we will carry on down here away. So thanks, Simon. Okay, so Maverick Viñales fastest today. If you're tuning in for the first time here today, then we should just bring you the information that Stefan Bradl is not testing. Had a bit of a problem with some numbness in his arm and his shoulder after the race here on Sunday. And of course, the race winner, Franco Morbidelli, not here. A stomach bug keeping him out of testing here today. Maybe a few people suggesting a few too many celebrations after his victory here on Sunday night as well. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Frankie says relax. He'll be back here on Friday, ready to try and make it back-to-back victories. And also Takaaki Nakagami went out for a spin on the 2020 Honda with Bradl not riding here today. Why not let Nakagami go out on the 2020 machine? Sounds like, from Lucio Cecchinello's perspective anyway, that things are looking pretty good in that area. We'll get the thoughts from Nakagami as well. So let's cross over now to Simon, who I think, oh, here we go. I'm just going to say hello to my good friend Matt. He's arrived. Everything all good, Matt? An intriguing day with Maverick fastest?
Yeah, I mean, Maverick doing what he always tends to do, isn't it, Steve? On soft tyres, looking really, really strong.
Oh. Yeah, I did that.
A few technical grams. We'll get there in the end. It's been a long, long day. Yeah, Maverick Viñales doing what he always tends to do on a soft tyre, Steve. Looking really, really strong. A busy day for the Yamahas, as I'm sure you've just mentioned. New swing arms, new exhausts, new chassis. So yeah, it's been a positive day for Maverick, but of course it means nothing on Tuesdays or on Fridays and Saturdays. It's all about Sundays where we need to see him perform. We were just talking then, myself and Simon, about Andrea Dovizioso and Ducati. It seems as though Dovi's found something which will be a big relief to the veteran Italian, because yes, okay, he leads the World Championship, which is a major positive, but he wasn't happy with the performance of the Ducati at the weekend. 7th place. In fact, we'll come to that in just a moment, because I think we're going to get our first interview in. A lot of laps completed here today for the Frenchman, Johann Zarco. Let's catch up and find out what he's got to say over with Simon.
Looked like you worked really hard today, Johan, trying to improve that last piece of the puzzle you spoke about at the end of the race, tyre feel. And the team also told me you tried throttle fly-by-wire. Did you make some forward steps?
Happy about the whole day. I did not expect to do so many laps like this. This morning was a lot, and then in the afternoon it was planned to do few runs and then stop, but we had things to test and I was still feeling good, so we did it. And clearly for a race pace we will have to see during the race weekend and on the Sunday, because it's not easy to do so many laps in a row like in the race. But every time I was out, I was performing well, and this is very positive. So happy about the test, happy about the last lap time I could do. It's always a pleasure to go under the 32, and it's a good sign to prepare a good weekend from Friday.
That was my next question. I imagine you wanted to improve your qualified position so you didn't have to get stuck behind other bikes early on in the race. Do you believe you've done that? Is there still time, if not race weekend-wise?
Yes, clearly on a fast lap I improved a lot, but last race I was doing a great race. I was even surprised from the start to maybe my first 15 or 17 laps, so more than half race. But then I've been struggling. It was maybe a bit difficult to keep a very high pace. And because now my performance was much better than a few days ago, it's maybe a good sign that I could keep a better pace. So we will see. And but yes, to have a better qualifying, now I have much more feeling to catch it.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks as ever to Simon Crafar, thanks to Johann Zarco with a very good lap time put in towards the end there as well. And you just wonder, don't you, with that performance from Pecco Bagnaia at the weekend, we know that it's Zarco versus Bagnaia for that factory seat. You just wonder whether it's maybe going to try and push him to maybe just go a little bit faster this weekend. I mean, of course, they're always looking to go faster, but Zarco knows that that would have put certainly the odds in Pecco's favour.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be unlikely now that Zarco will get that chance in the factory team. Although it won't be a disaster, will it? Because Ducati made it quite clear he'll get the big machinery upgrade next year on the GP20. Zarco's just lacking that experience, the race experience on the Ducati. First half of last weekend, Steve, he was running quite closely to Andrea Dovizioso, so he learned a lot. The difference between Dovi and Zarco right now is that Zarco just has not got the experience over the longer distance to conserve and manage the rear tyres, which is really where Andrea Dovizioso is super strong. So it's just a case of experience. So today, actually, a day without any pressure, no time constraints, would have come at a perfect time for Zarco just to get his head around more on that Ducati.
Well, we mentioned Pecco Bagnaia, of course, after what was, quite frankly, a brilliant weekend. He finished on the podium, second place it was, and this morning he went out, did a series of 132s, but quite right, he wanted to rest his leg ahead of the weekend ahead. He caught up actually with Amy Reynolds earlier on, and this is what Pecco had to say.
Pecco, understandably, you've taken the decision to only do this morning's session. Firstly, how is your leg feeling today, and what were you working on?
I feel a little bit tired, but we are lucky that I have 2 days in front of me without riding. Yesterday I tried to rest a bit, but was not enough. So I'm happy that tomorrow I have 2 days to rest a bit with the leg. I'm very happy about this morning. My pace was very strong, so I'm very happy about that. We have worked on a different type of setting that can help us to improve the chassis of next year. But I'm happy that have a great potential. We have to work a lot on it, but at the moment have a great potential. So our things that we have to try have worked well. So we can be happy about this morning.
What did you think of the radio communication system?
I had to be sincere, honest, and I have tried, but without riding, just putting on the helmet. But in any case, I think that the air plugs, the normally air plugs, are better because the sound of the MotoGP bikes are too loud, so it's very difficult to keep concentration, I think. But in any case, in the future, I will like to try it because it's very important, I think, to make this type of communication. Maybe not for the flex, because for the flex we can see the flex around the circuit, but if in the future they will give the possibility to the team to say something to us, will be very interesting for sure.
The factory Ducati riders today were testing a new rear seat unit. Do you know if there's a plan for you to be able to try that at any point? Did you try it, and what is the reason?
I don't know at the moment. Normally, in a day like this of test, everybody tries something different, and when finish the day, my crew chief, my Gabarini, we say to me what they have tried and what they said is something important because I already know if something have worked well. So let's see what they said about this seat. But at the moment I've not tried it. But if it's better for us, for sure we will have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Amy Reynolds there talking to Pecco Bagnaia. We should just add to that, all the riders have been, of course, given the chance to test out these comms and the radio at the moment. And this is in the interest of safety, and it is in the very, very early stages. Let's cross over live now and get the thoughts of Takaaki Nakagami. He had a play out on a 2020 Honda as well earlier on. Let's see what Simon can get out of the Japanese rider. He's live now.
Taka-san, you've been very fast in the races before Misano, very fast, and then came here. The bike was a little more difficult, more physical to hang on to.
Yeah.
Did you manage to improve it today for next weekend?
Yeah, definitely we improved so much because last weekend in Misano race 1, all the weekend we quite struggled from Friday, Saturday, also Sunday a little bit better, but unfortunately the grip position is not the best. From P14, now is the MotoGP, the lap time is so tight, it's really difficult to catch up. And but we are working on a kind of also the qualifying lap, and also with a UZ tire is much more consistent, and a lot of many laps low 32. But we need to pay attention because normally doing the test on the MotoGP test and more lava on the track. So we are not, we are happy, really happy for what we done for the test, but we need to a bit calm, prepare for the Friday, because after especially in the race, after Moto2 race, more Dunlop lava on the track, is always the grip level is getting lower. So we need sometime, rider or some rider is a bit panic. So, but definitely we, we test many items, and which is really working well. So we are very happy for the, for the new items, and we can use for this weekend. So this is really positive for the start base. So, but as I said before, we need to now a bit calm and just another prepare for the Friday in FP1. Then if we can start pretty well in FP1, I think definitely we can fight for the podium.
Taka-san, I would first of all love to hear your impressions of the 2020 bike. Lucio mentioned you like the engine feel, but also was it chassis items that you tried on the 19 bike?
Well, this morning we tried like a 20 bike, which is a Stefan brother the testing bike, and was pretty good. I mean, I felt really comfortable, and yeah, it's quite simple. I felt no negative. I felt really good. So unfortunately, we make like a long run, and during the long run, I had a crash in the turn 1 because I hit. It's quite big impact on the bumps, and yeah, I lose the front. It was an easy crash, but yeah, seems long time I didn't crash because so I was a bit surprised, but I'm totally okay. And after that, back to our bike and 19 bike, and suddenly I felt the lap time is quite good. So yeah, both sides, new material with our bike, which is 19 bike. We try to develop the bike for this weekend, and everything really positive. So I'm pretty good, pretty happy, and I'm really thanks to all my team because all day, all the mechanics, a lot of working so hard, and I'm really appreciative for all my team.
Thank you, Taka-san.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Takaaki Nakagami and to Simon Crayfeld. We should just point out as well that there are going to be tons of interviews coming here live because it's like a conveyor belt up there with Simon at the moment. But interesting that they had to let Taka have a go, especially with Stefan Bradl out, not just because he probably deserves it, but also they need some more opinions on this 2020 bike. It clearly isn't everyone's favourite, but there's some interestingly positive words there from Nakagami.
Well, yeah, no negatives. That's what he said about the bike, didn't it? I mean, really good that Honda are getting some information back from Takaaki Nakagami because he's been so good, hasn't he, so far on that 2019 bike. Shame we couldn't really see how he was on that longer run because of that crash at the first corner. I'm fascinated to see this weekend, Steve, how Takaaki Nakagami gets on, because you remember back-to-back race in Jerez, he took a massive leap at the second race, was fighting for the podium. Likewise in the Red Bull Ring as well. So Takaaki Nakagami, when he's had these back-to-back races, he has had a tendency to really kick on in the second weekend. And I think actually he might be a bit of a dark horse for the podium this weekend. But great to see him try the 2020 bike. But also crucially for Honda, He actually really liked it.
Well, yeah, that's the big bonus, isn't it? We'll stay with Honda because, of course, the only other rider to be out there on a Honda today was, of course, Alex Marquez. Now, he's trying to make improvements from what happened on Sunday, but there was a new exhaust, some new aero as well, so lots to try for the Moto2 World Champion. He's live with Simon now.
Alex, as a rookie in MotoGP, it must be great to have a mid-season test. Did you find something today, setup-wise, to help you this weekend?
Yeah, quite happy about this today. From the morning I was already in the second run faster than the weekend, so this is always positive. We focus on improve this year bike. Also we tried some future things, but mainly we work more for this year bike to try to work also the next year bike. The engine need to be the same, everything need to be the same. So we focus on improve. We improve it. We improve it also the setup and different things, new things, but with small changes that help me to be especially more constant and more fast in one lap. So yeah, quite happy on that. Still far from the top guys, but I feel positive and I feel great after this test here.
From the outside, the new exhaust was very difficult for me to see the difference. I'm wondering if you could feel anything, but also the completely new aero, was it a positive step?
Well, we try different things, like I say, to see the way for the future. It's important for us after the thing that we had, the problem that we had in Qatar, to understand the aerodynamic and to know where Honda need to work more in the winter time to give to us something better for the 2021 season. But yeah, was a different kind of feeling, a little bit positive, a little bit negative. So now we need to understand where we improve it, but especially I want to focus on this next weekend. We need to see the new items, which one are working better, to focus on the weekend and to make a good race here on Sunday.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Alex Marquez. It says something about the position that HRC are in, the fact that they're actually having to dish some of these new parts out to Alex Marquez.
Well, he's last man standing at the moment, isn't he? I mean, Stefan Bradl wasn't able to ride here today because he had some numbness problems in his right hand and has done so many laps around Misano. It's not really a benefit. And of course, Marc Marquez and Cal Crutchlow unfortunately sidelined through injury. Alex, it's crystal clear where Alex needs to improve over the next few races, and that's in qualifying in FP3 on that soft tyre. We mentioned it, didn't we, in the preview, in the commentary. Alex in the race on Sunday had at times pace that was good enough for the top 6. Fastest lap of his race was on that last lap. So, on worn tyres, there's nothing wrong with Alex at all. Got to find a bit more speed on the soft tyre to get him that higher up the grid, because I think actually he could be inside the top 10 second half of the season.
I sort of get the feeling that we say that about everyone though in the MotoGP at the moment. Okay, let's go over to another interview that was recorded earlier on. Andrea Dovizioso, now this will be fascinating, can't wait to hear this one. Andrea Dovizioso struggled a bit. Yes, he's the World Championship leader, but they've found something today. Davide Torzio admitted that when we were in the commentary box. Earlier on, he spoke to Amy Reynolds, so let's have a listen to this and see what Dovy's found.
Andrea, understandably, it looks as though you chose to perhaps not take part in this afternoon's session and conserve some energy to hit it harder again this weekend. Just tell us about what you were working on today.
Yes, there was a reason to make a lot of laps, especially because in this morning we did everything we wanted, and I'm really happy because we try a new piece on the bike and help us a bit. I'm really happy about that. And we try a different setup. It's really nice to have a test after 2 days after a race. So we were able to work in a lot of details, and the feeling was much better than the weekend. So pretty happy. Today everybody are fast, but my confidence increased a lot. So I'm really happy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked as though the new piece on the bike you were talking about is a new rear seat unit. Is that what you were referring to? And if not, were you testing a new rear seat unit, and what's the benefits?
No, it's one thing what I can't speak about that on the details because the engineer don't want. But it was something we request from a long time. But when there is a big effort of developing. It's difficult to do everything you want, so they were able to bring here in the test, and the feeling is good.
Did you test a new rear seat unit though?
The new?
Did you test a new rear seat unit?
Rear seat.
Rear seat unit.
If I understand what you're saying, I didn't have anything new about that.
Okay. It's just Simon spotted it. And also, what did you think of the radio communication system?
Yes, it was interesting to try because I can hear really good. So this is positive, but for sure they have to make a change because the air plug, it wasn't like you don't have the air plug. So the sound was so high about the engine. So I can hear what they say, but for sure they need some change, and I hope for next year there will be without the cable. I don't know if it will be possible.
Thanks, Andrea.
Yeah, thanks very much, Amy. Thanks to Andrea as well. Interesting there. Sounds like the initial thoughts on the radio communications is positive, but as we re-emphasise, this is just the early stages. In general, Dovi looks really, really happy. We might have to dig into that a little bit later on, though, because we're going to have a word now with Tito Rabat. Now, Tito struggled quite a bit so far this year, and also earlier on, it looked like there might have been some engine troubles as well. Let's find out if we can find out now some more from Tito, from Simon.
Tito, I didn't spot that you had anything new. We did see that you broke an engine today. Can you give us an idea what you've been working on?
Yes, today, to be honest, was a little bit mistake to just put soft tires on the back because at the end track change and there is a lot of graining on tire. And this morning we realized after 5 laps we have a lot of graining in the tire. Then it has been very difficult to work like that. And yes, at the end broken the engine and not possible to put the last tire that I saved from the race because at the end we have 3 tires plus 1 of the race. But anyway, I test some position of foot pegs that I like quite a lot. It makes me work more the legs on the bike. Also we test some electronic things with the gas more smooth at the beginning, that I understand many things, and nothing. I think at the end for my understanding of the bike, I make 1 step forward, and now looking forward the race.
Speaking of the race, what do you plan to work on first days? You know, Friday, Saturday, this weekend.
I'm very comfortable for the setup already. I mean, we need to adjust a little bit more when we use the tires because maybe with the Ducati is more critical. When it works better, and after, if you need to put the good tire in the good moment. But apart from the choice of the tires during the practices, I have everything very clear, and I'm enthusiastic about how we would work because I understand some things that I feel comfortable on the bike and fast. Then we can see if I can show on this weekend.
Okay, thank you, Tito.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Tito Rabat there. In general, it has been a bit of a struggle for him. We heard earlier on the weekend, actually, that he's still not quite recovered from that crash in 2018. I just want to backtrack slightly before we get another live interview in there and just finish off what we were talking about regarding Andrea Dovizioso, Matt. A positive-sounding Dovi. You can always tell he wears his heart on his sleeve, whether he's miserable and not fast, but that sounds really promising.
Yeah, and they need to find something, didn't they, Steve? I mean, that 7th place is not going to cut it in terms of winning the World Championship. We know that Andrea Dovizioso struggled with that new Michelin rear tyre. It's offered great rear grip, but too much. Andrea likes to, in the past, jam the front brakes on and then get that rear tyre sliding to help him turn the Ducati. Well, because that Michelin rear tyre this year has got that extra grip, he can't make the bike pivot and then make the turn. He's got to completely overhaul his riding style, which is pretty tough when you're near on 35 years of age, but he's going to have to do it. He talked about this weekend. Yeah, he's been really consistent. He scored points in every race, but right now his speed is just nowhere near good enough to fight for the World Championship. So he'll be happy that they made a breakthrough, hoping as well that it's not just the fact that it's the 4th day in a row that he's been testing here and there's a lot of Michelin rubber laid down the circuit. He'll be hoping that, fingers crossed, they haven't made a breakthrough and he'll be much, much stronger here this weekend, because he was nowhere, 10 seconds off the win, 7th place. That's not going to cut it.
And we just heard there from Tito Rabat, Matt. We don't often get a chance to really sort of evaluate Tito, and we're not going to be able to right now either, because we've got a crossover live and hear from Maverick Viñales. He ended the day fastest overall. He was, of course, fastest on Saturday as well. Pitching the questions to Maverick, Simon Crafar.
Yes, Maverick, again, really fast. I noticed all day from this morning you were working with the medium rear tyre. It was graining a fair bit first sessions, and then later on it looked like you've fixed that and, strong on the medium. Is that the plan for this weekend?
Yes, honestly, a bit disappointed because also today we were very strong. Also for one lap I just crashed, then make a fast lap and I could ride 31 medium. And you know, I feel very fast, but I don't know why on the race I cannot push the first 15 laps. I have a lot of rear sliding. I feel like on the ice, on the rear, especially on the race. And then, today we tried new parts, which I feel very comfortable. I did the lap times with that new parts and feels that I can maybe gain something for the race. But anyway, it still remains the same problem that we cannot try the things when there is rubber of Moto2 on the track, and we cannot fix the bike.
Okay, speaking of the new parts, I saw a new exhaust and swing arm that you were doing different pivot heights, and was it positive, either of those things?
Honestly, the bike we had last week is really good. Difficult to improve it, but with the new parts I can ride the same but much more relaxed. So this is a good sign. It means that when I need to push, maybe I can ride a little bit faster. But what I was looking for is that this graining that I had during all weekend on the medium tire, that in the test we solved quite a lot the problem. So yeah, for sure we're going to try to ride more with the medium during the Grand Prix, trying to understand. But also the soft worked really good this afternoon. I could make many laps and finally finishing the tire with 32 lows on the rhythm, which is for us is really good. And yeah, we need to understand why on the race we lose the grip and I feel on the ice, because after that, for me, it feels perfect. The bike, I can ride very fast and I can hit very good lap times without going on the limit.
Thank you, Maverick.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks as ever to Simon Crafar, thanks to Maverick as well. For those of you wanting more Tito news, if we get a chance later, we will try and go into that. But we've got to stick with Maverick because there is this age-old problem and it won't go away, and everyone's scratching their head, and you can just see from the body language there of Maverick is still plaguing him as well. We know he's notorious for going fast on test days, on one lap, one of the fastest men in the world, but you can just see it's starting to get under his skin now, what's happening on Sundays.
And it's not a good place to be, is it, Steve, as well? You know, he knows all weekend he's going to be one of the fastest guys on Friday and Saturday, but there's going to be that element of doubt come race day. Is he going to flourish or is he going to flounder? Unfortunately, over the last 3 or 4 races for Maverick, it's been floundering. So, you know, if he doesn't really know what's going on race day, there's not much chance for the rest of us. It's a puzzle that he's going to have to solve, because it could be costing him the chance to fight for this year's World Championship.
Yeah, it could indeed. I mean, if he goes for the hard option rear again, he was the only rider, by the way, on Sunday to do that. I think it's fair to say it would be a bit of a surprise. Let's switch manufacturers now, because I think we'll be hearing from some Suzuki men shortly. Joan Mir, what a performance from how far back he came last Sunday. A lot of the focus, Matt, going into today's test for Mir, who was in brilliant form. He's been in the top 5 everywhere. It was the fact that he really wanted to try and pay attention to the new tyres, full tank, get the pace going early on.
Yeah. 2 things I think Joan Mir needs to sort out in terms of his soft tyre pace is, start of the races, like you just mentioned, Steve, and certainly qualifying. They do tend to give themselves a lot of hard work, don't they, on Sundays. Suzuki, I mean, Alex Rins hasn't qualified in the top 6 since Silverstone last year, and that just gives yourself far too much hard work to do. Mir said all last weekend he didn't have the 1 lap speed of the Yamahas. He knew that, but he was very confident going into the race that he could get the job done. And what a move that was on Rossi. That had to be inch perfect, otherwise he'd have needed 24 hours round-the-clock security just to get out of Italy. But this young man is the form man in MotoGP right now. 2 podiums in his last 3, should have been 3 of course, when he was comfortably in the lead in Austria. Nobody scored more points than him over the last 3 Grand Prix. So Joan Mir again coming into that championship contention. Suzuki's first podium here since 2007, which was a real surprise, because you think that sort of agility, manoeuvrability would work well around some of these sort of tight, twisty technical sections in Misano. But it just shows what a great job Suzuki have done. Joan Mir said after the race last year, he wasn't convinced coming into this weekend that he'd be so strong and as good as what they were, and that bodes well. It looks like now Suzuki, certainly in terms of race pace, have got a motorcycle that they can just roll out the back of that truck and it's going to work everywhere, and that puts you in a good place. It means you're not chasing your tail, you're not having to work really hard, waste crucial track time looking for a setup. You've got a base setup which you know works. I think Joan Mir, probably with all the information and data that they gained last weekend, he looks so good now, doesn't he, through turn 5 and 6. He's going to be fighting for the victory on Sunday, and for me, he's one of the real big championship challengers.
Yeah, well, I don't think I can argue with that, really. I put him as one of the heavy favourites now for the World Championship. Let's see how he got on today. We can cross over live and hear from him. He's with Simon Crafer.
Joan, you were already super fast on last weekend. What have you been working on? Have you managed to improve anything, and should the competition be worried?
Well, I'm happy about today. We tried one swing arm, also some setting, working a bit on the setting. Well, after the weekend, not you will not find something big. No, you work in small areas. And I'm quite happy about today, because we find something more on the setting of the bike that allowed me to ride in a better way, more confident, especially with the front. So happy about that. We didn't push to make a super lap time. We just work a little bit like testing, and I'm happy overall. The team did a really good job, so thank you for them. And well, let's see if this can make a bit the difference in next weekend.
That's what I'm wondering as well. The slight improvement you made, will it help in qualifying as well? Because if your qualifying position is good, it looked like you could fight for the win.
Yes. Well, honestly, we worked. We wanted to work to improve the qualifying, but honestly, we improved the lap pace a little bit. So it's not bad. I think that also this will make the qualifying easier for sure. But it's not a big step. It's just peanuts,
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you.
The more you listen to Joan Mir, the more you admire, because he's so intelligent. We always knew that. We always knew he had the talent, but it's all just starting to knit together now, isn't it? Because he's had that full season behind him. You could just tell the confidence is flowing through the veins. And the fact that they've found something, they've made another step. I'm really excited about Friday now already.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great team behind him, a great manufacturer, and of course he's now got that self-belief. That breakthrough podium a couple of weeks ago in Austria really lifted the weight off his shoulders, and now we're seeing Joan Mir riding freely. There's not a lot of pressure. Will it build if he does get himself right into that championship battle? But yeah, if they found something, I mean, he's absolutely right. We talk about, they have to improve their qualifying, like it's shelling peas. It's not. Trying to find thousandths of a second in MotoGP nowadays is so difficult, and it's such fine margins. I mean, if you're a tenth of a second away from where you need to be in MotoGP, it could be the difference between the front row nowadays or being outside the top 10.
Well, I think he's just about sold it to me, though. He's going in my fantasy team this weekend now, Joan Mir. So anyway, let's move on to Alex Rins. Rins has had a decent day as well. Have they found something? Because just at the end of the race on Sunday, just faded a little, so he couldn't quite pass on to get on the back of Rossi. Let's go over to Simon now.
Yes, Alex, you looked really strong. It was looking like a podium last Sunday, and we heard you had a little bit of arm pump problem, maybe coming from your old injury. Anything you managed to make it easier to ride on the bike today to help that?
Not a little bit. Also hard the pain on Sunday race. But well, we work yesterday on the physiotherapist, and then today I try a bit of adjustments in the bike. It looks like today I was riding without pain, so it was good. But as you said, it was a really big shame on Sunday race to lose the podium, no? Because we had the rhythm, we recovered like 2 seconds to Vale. But well, today I think was a very positive day. We try some new items like a swing arm and some electronic pieces, and sincerely the pace was quite nice, much faster than on the race weekend. But can be for the rubber on the track and blah 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 blah. But we are good, so let's try it again.
So it sounds like you have nothing more to work on before Sunday's race coming, or is there something?
For sure, we have like more items to try on the race weekend. For sure, we need to try again some tires, but let's keep it for the weekend.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Alex Rins there. Thanks also to Simon. It's getting to the point now where we'll switch focus in a minute to another manufacturer, but just want to get your thoughts on this. It's getting to the point now where as Alex Rins inches closer to full fitness, Matt, it's on, game on, that Suzuki. It'll be really interesting to see actually who wins that inter-team battle.
Yeah, and crucially, I mean, Alex Rins has damaged himself physically, but he hasn't really damaged his championship aspirations. He's only 36 points behind Andrea Dovizioso, but that one is going to bubble up nicely, isn't it? That rivalry between Joan Mir and Alex Rins, I mean, that would have smarted on Sunday for Alex. I mean, being passed so late on by Joan Mir, I mean, it was another stunning performance by Alex Rins. He's got no right in his physical condition to be doing what he's doing on that motorcycle. He's going to be stronger again this weekend with that a little bit more information. You know, it's been a long time. Well, here in 2007 with Chris Vermeulen and John Hopkins, the last time Suzuki had 2 bikes on the podium. You wouldn't rule that out here on Sunday, the way the boys have been going today.
Well, let's move over to KTM now, and of course the Styrian Grand Prix race winner, Miguel Oliveira. A fantastic win for him a few weeks ago, but perhaps a humbling day at the office here on Sunday. Have they made any steps forward? There was a small tumble for Miguel Oliveira, but let's hear from him now. This is from earlier on when he spoke to Matt Dunn.
Miguel, 11th here on Sunday, so what was the plan for today's test? What did you get through?
Mainly was to take out a conclusion about a couple of things which we have already tested in June here in Misano. Then with the race weekends it's quite hard, as you know, to just try different things, and we back-checked a lot of things, and also we tried to work a little bit on some things about the 21 package. Because for us it's the last chance we have with KTM before the season starts in an official test to get at least an idea about what works for next year or not. So basically that was it.
So no, was that only stuff you've tried before, or was that some new things as well?
No, basically it was just to confirm a couple of things, just to get a direction, really. There were no new parts that I could say that make a huge impact, but you know, just choosing a direction for the future. That was really it.
It was a bit apparent KTMs weren't quite as high up the standings on Sunday as we'd seen in the last few races. Were you able to work on anything for this weekend coming instead? Are we going to be expecting to see more a top 5 running from you guys, even better this time around?
You know, we have a second chance this weekend. I would say we have to do a better job in terms of being a bit faster in qualifying, and I think if the bike is able to be a bit faster, we are going to make a good race on Sunday for sure. Everyone has got a second chance here also, so I don't think they could go any worse. So, so we really have to step up our game, and everyone is very close, everyone is very competitive, so
it's not going to be easy, but we can battle with anyone, and I'm ready for any challenge.
Thanks a lot, Miguel.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Miguel. Thanks to Matt Dunn earlier for conducting that interview. 10th, 11th and 12th, Matt, the KTMs were on Sunday. They couldn't really be split. They were split by 0.3 of a second. Their pace, no problem whatsoever. But as Miguel just mentioned there, the bigger issue was qualifying on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at his race, Steve, I think he lost 6 seconds in the first 2 laps because he was mired back down the grid. And then he lost 6 seconds over the course of the following 25 laps. So the start on those first 2 laps was all important for Miguel Oliveira, because from lap 2 onwards he was only losing a tenth or 2 each lap. I mean, we keep talking about it, don't we now? Qualifying is absolutely key. It's one of the most essential elements now of the weekend so far. I wouldn't say KTM got brought crashing back down to earth with a bump because they were in the top 10, but it wasn't an easy weekend like Austria, that's for sure.
No, it certainly wasn't. It wasn't an easy weekend for Fabio Quartararo either, was it? Let's be honest. He came into the weekend as World Championship leader, and then that crash. He said he's really looking forward to getting back on the bike again, though, on Friday. We know he's got excellent pace. Have they found even more? Let's cross over to Simon now, where he's standing by with Fabio.
Yes, Fabio, was a tough weekend for you. Did you work on anything today to help the problem that you had in the race with the front tyre pressure going up, or what else did you work on?
Yeah, feel good to be back on the bike, after a tough weekend. So yeah, I'm really happy about the test because we didn't do a time attack, just working on a pace that actually is our main goal. And we try different things to try to improve in the overtakes. Let's say we are struggling too much to overtake people, and I think today we found something to improve a little bit. And super happy because with 23 or 24 laps on the tire, I make almost my fastest lap. So this is really positive, and let's bring it for the race weekend.
Fabio, I saw on the factory team Yamaha bikes there were some new parts. I didn't see them on your bike, but did you have anything to try today, new?
Yeah, we try many things that actually was good, because we could see exactly which was the positive, negative. Then of course you have a lot of things that you don't feel on the bike, but you need to check on the data. So for sure my engineer and my crew chief will check. But we had some parts to test, and was positive because this test was good. Was not only riding but also testing quite a lot of parts.
Thank you, Fabio.
Thank you.
Thanks to Fabio Quartararo. Such a frustrating day for Fabio on Sunday, Matt, especially the lead up to it looks so positive. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He had the best race pace and rhythm going into the race on Sunday, and it went wrong. He'll just be itching now for the lights to go out again.
Yeah, you could hear him there. It was fighting talk, wasn't it? He's done a lot of work today on those used tyres. Almost his best lap of the day, lap 23 or 24. That's only 3 shy of full race distance. You have to say, he didn't do an awful lot wrong, did he, on Sunday? It was just a real small mistake, which proved so costly. I mean, Fabio Quartararo looked so good all weekend. He just needs a result now. It's no top 6 in the last 4 races. He's got to steer that ship back on course. It was very difficult in Brno with the lack of grip. The lack of horsepower really hurt him in Austria, and he would have known last weekend was a real good chance on a track where the Yamaha clearly worked well, Steve. His teammate Franco Morbidelli looked untouchable.
You wonder though, Matt, don't you, if he'd have made a better start, because he got mired, didn't he? He didn't get off the line so well, and it could have been a different tale altogether had he have gone into the first turn in the first couple of places.
I think that was an issue as well, because Maverick Viñales was ahead of him. Fabio clearly understood he was quicker, but couldn't make that pass. Once he got through, he just got a little bit excited. It was a small mistake. A little bit of a mistake there as well.
Yeah, nice
coming
save.
Through turn 16.
Nice save there from Fabio Quartararo. Yeah, I think everybody is expecting to see Fabio back to his best, and having relinquished the championship lead, he'll certainly want to do that as well, because there's no knowing what's going to happen with Yamaha when we go to Catalonia the week after. So let's just quickly go over to the other side of Ducati. Then we heard from Pecco Bagnaia earlier, but what about Jack Miller? Jack had such a great start to the race, but by lap 5-6, he was already in trouble. Have they fixed those problems? Let's find out and see what he had to say earlier on.
Jack, it looked in the race that you had a tyre drop-off, towards the end, had the pace in the beginning. Any improvement on that today?
Honestly speaking, no. We were trying to work with that. Unfortunately, we had an issue with the bike in the middle part of the day when we really wanted, like on race time, when we really wanted to try and do a sort of back-to-back check on the tyres. So yeah, we kind of missed that opportunity today, but I think we gained some valuable data. There's still, you know, 2 major points that I need to work on, which is sector 1. The first 3 corners are an issue for me, no matter how I try and do it. And then turn 11 as well. I'm losing a lot of time there. It's just on like a qualifying lap, you know, if all the stars align, I can get it right. But if it does, you know, if I sort of get a minute shake beforehand, or especially with the other bikes in the race, I had an issue with the dirty air. Sort of creates a shake beforehand, and then as soon as I sort of get out of the bike, it starts to really bounce, and we weren't able to really find a solution for that today. So, but like I said, lots of valuable data. The boys will study that over the next couple of days and try again on Friday.
Tadozzi mentioned to me that the factory Ducati guys are working on a direction for next year's chassis, and you'll be on that chassis. Were you working on that as well?
Yeah, I tried a couple little things in that area. Was happy with the changes, but we need a little bit more. I think majority of the guys that tried it felt like that, apart from Dovi. So it's we've definitely seen the positives in it, but there are negatives, and we need to try and iron them out.
Thank you, Jack.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much to Jack Miller. Didn't sound entirely happy with his day here.
He didn't, did he? No. I mean, it was a tough day for Jack. Like he said, he wanted to be out on the circuit at race time, 2 p.m, to really get an understanding. He went for that soft Michelin rear tyre choice on Sunday, and it clearly didn't work. He had a big drop-off after about 5 laps. And he said, I've got to go more with my gut instinct. He preferred to race the medium or the hard. And it doesn't sound like Ducati have made any sort of major inroads. So hard to find big progress, isn't it, with a revised chassis? I mean, I'm guessing that they're still looking at the age-old Ducati problem for a bit more turning. The understeer that's been the DNA of their bike for so long. You know, and as Jack mentioned, Steve, you know, we know it's not the easiest bike to turn. They were missing in sector 1. That's where the Yamaha and the Suzuki's nimbleness really came to the fore. And he just mentioned it here as well, this shot of him coming through Cavone. You don't want to have instability issues around about here, where you're almost nailed in 6th gear doing nearly 300 kilometres an hour, especially when there's other bikes around you. So yeah, and that's got to admit, that was as downbeat as I've heard Jack for quite some time, to be honest.
Do you think it's armed with the fact that it will grate a little that his teammate Pecco Bagnaia doesn't seem to be having the same problems?
Yeah, he's not going to be enjoying that at all, is he? I mean, Pecco was perfection personified on Sunday. The first person you want to beat, the old cliche, is your teammate. You know, Jack would not have enjoyed that at all. So yeah, he'll be looking to retaliate again this weekend.
Well, let's see if Jack can fix it on Friday. They're certainly going to get their chance to. FP2 will be sort of same time as the race as well, so we'll see if we can fix that. We heard earlier on from a couple of riders in terms of what these radio communications were like. Let's find out now from Carlos Espeleta what his thoughts are about it on the opening day.
Carlos, test day in Misano, and riders not just testing stuff for their own races, but also to improve safety as well. Tell us about it.
Yes, like we explained last week, it's a good opportunity to test the radio system that we have spoken about with the riders in the Safety Commission. It was really just a very first preliminary test, let's say, basically to test 2 things. One, if the riders were able to hear messages on the earphones, and 2, to see if they were distracted by a message that could arrive mid-corner or in moments of more concentration, let's say. And in both those cases, the results has been very good for the riders that we've spoken with, so we're considerably happy in this first day.
And this is just for safety in this respect then?
Yes, clearly, as we explained, some of the riders had mentioned the possibility of communicating with their teams in the future, but for now, the idea is only to send pre-recorded messages from race direction to the riders.
So the feedback's been mostly positive for the riders then?
Clearly there are some things that we have to improve on the new system. Now it's just about listening to the riders and seeing what are our requirements for the future, if there's going to be a cable, no cable, the size of the receivers on the leather suits, the earphones and how much noise they cancel from the motorbike. But like we said, this is just a very first preliminary test, and definitely will improve in the future.
Thanks a lot.
Good to hear the words there of Carlos Ezpeleta. It sounds like there certainly is enough there to try it again. And some riders don't seem like there's nobody out there at the moment that's saying absolutely no. So
no, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, as Carlos just emphasised there, this is all about improving safety and who's not going to be behind any kind of innovation that can help improve safety. I mean, it's all about, you know, improving warning systems, talking to riders with pre-recorded messages about yellow flags, about oil flags, red flags, you name it. I think the riders certainly have been very, very open to it. They've been very receptive, and why wouldn't they be? They're determined to make the sport as safe as possible. So I'm all for it. Hands up, I think it's an absolutely great idea. And I hope moving forward, the system gets to a point where we do actually see it introduced in the Grand Prix weekend very, very soon, because anything that improves safety in MotoGP, well, we've got to be all behind it.
Yeah, I think there was, to begin with, certainly a widespread view on social media, some people getting involved, worried that we were going in the same direction as Formula One. But, you know, I managed to speak to Carlos Ezpeleta earlier on in the weekend, and he said, look, this is not, we appreciate that this is not car racing, this is bike racing, so we can't, it's not going to be completely similar to that. And for now, the reminder, as always, is it's just a test purely for safety. Only if that works would they then look into potentially team communications.
Yeah, and some riders actually were pro having it for strategic purposes, or even just to improve the TV spectacle, improve the TV show. You know, they felt it was going to be a benefit for the fans at home watching all around the world to actually listen and understand what the riders actually say underneath their helmets. I'm not sure sometimes we perhaps want to hear, or we do, but we haven't got a bleep machine constantly for the likes of people like Jack Miller.
Well, we're just looking here at footage from Pol Espargaró. He's not had too much of a bad day. They're trying to test quite a lot, actually, Aprilia at this moment in time. Sad to say that we're not going to hear from Valentino Rossi here today. He's not speaking after his test, but we can look at some footage of the doctor. I think he's been testing so much. I think we'll hear plenty from him in the forthcoming weekend. In fact, he is in the press conference on Thursday, so make sure you tune into that one. And then you'll be able to hear exactly what his thoughts were, because I'll ask him. But lots to try for the 41-year-old today.
Yeah, busy day. No resting on his laurels, having come so close to that 200th podium last weekend. New chassis from Yamaha. Maya Maragali said it didn't really make, or didn't find any improvements that they were looking for. New swing arm as well. I'd imagine Rossi in particular is looking to solve some of those rear tyre endurance problems that he's definitely made big inroads into solving, but not quite clearly solved them just yet. And there is that very, very, you can see it clear as daylight, can't you? It sticks out like a sore thumb, that brand new Yamaha exhaust system. They've used that stubby cut-off system for quite some time, but that's all about trying to find more horsepower, top end for circuits like the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya later on this month, and also improving a bit of drivability. So, yeah, shame we won't hear Valentino's thoughts today, but yeah, can't wait till you grill him on Thursday, mate, to find out exactly what he made of it, because it's certainly different, to say the least.
He's another rider, though, Matt, who has shown again how important and vital qualifying is. He got himself on the second row of the grid, up into fourth. His only podium of the year came from the first, that same position as well. So Valentino will really have to try and make sure he can do that again on Saturday. We've got another live interview coming in. Let's find out what Brno race winner Brad Binder had to say about today, because, of course, much like Miguel Oliveira, mired mid-pack here on Sunday. Over to Simon.
Brad, at the two tracks before getting to Misano, the KTM was super strong. You know, the low grip at Brno, Austria with the long straights, hard braking, came here, and all 3-4 of the KTMs have been struggling more. I'm wondering have you improved anything today that'll help you next weekend?
For sure, you know, it was definitely a bit tougher for us here than the previous races. I think we didn't really expect to have struggled as much as we did. But yeah, we had quite a positive test today. Tried quite a few different things, and in general just playing with the balances a little bit and trying to see if we can just improve a little bit and try have a little bit more in our pocket, not feel so on the limit the whole time. So I think we made some good steps forward for sure, and yeah, I feel a little bit more prepared for the race weekend. So I expect that the second time around maybe we can do a bit of a better job.
I spotted a new chassis in your garage, first with Pol and then with you. I got your boss to confirm it, and I'm wondering, was it a step in the positive direction or not?
You know it is. I mean, whenever you try a new chassis or anything like that, it's always got some positives and some negatives. So the important thing is our feedback can now go back to the factory and they can try get everything to be the best, you know, front and rear balance. So I think it's good. It was nice to try a different one. It was the first time I actually tried a different chassis, so that was cool. And yeah, in general, nothing too serious. Today we played a little bit, like I said, with just the balances and different springs and all of that kind of stuff. And I definitely feel like we made a good step. So still very far from where I want to be. I would like to be a lot stronger than I am at the moment, but we'll get there.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Brad Binder. I mean, if ever there was a way of showcasing how difficult it is to overtake in Misano, then it's Brad Binder on Sunday, because we've just come to expect that on a Sunday, Brad's going to make forward movement in the pack. He's going to, this is just earlier on, by the way, where he had a tiny issue, but you expect him to be finishing maybe 4 or 5 places, certainly ahead of where he qualified. That was not the case here on Sunday.
He's not scared to get his elbows and knuckles out, is he, in a fight, Brad Binder. Tough weekend, like you said, tougher than what they expected. I think corner entry was one of his bigger issues, getting that bike settled on corner entry, and then that was costing him as well mid-corner speed, and that obviously then compromises your exit speed as well. That was a little, as Steve mentioned, mechanical gremlin for him earlier on today. It's good though, isn't it? You know, he's only 6 races into his MotoGP career. We know he's going to be in the full factory team next year, but the KTM putting their trust in him already at a relatively newcomer in MotoGP, putting in crucial development miles on new parts for next season, it just shows how much faith and trust the KTM engineers put in Brad Binder. And he just looks so relaxed and calm about it. You know, he's ready, isn't he, to take on that responsibility and embrace it and really become the leading light for KTM next year.
Well, the thing is, I think before now, can you hear me? Before, I think I've just gone off. Okay, I've run out of battery, mate. So
well, apparently, yes. So Steve is just having a couple of battery issues. So yeah, Brad Binder, as we said, he was looking really, really good. So yeah, there we go. It's been a great day here in Misano. So, no, sorry, apparently my battery's okay. We're going to go now to Bradley Smith, the factory Aprilia rider, who is with Simon Crafer.
Brad, you've been a busy boy today, a lot of laps and also a lot of new parts. Got confirmed with Paolo Panoro about everything from chassis, also the start device. Can you tell us a little bit about your day?
Yes, it sounds like Paolo's been giving away our secrets. But,
I saw them first.
Good eyes, good spot. Yeah, it was a big day. Didn't quite get the 100 laps, but 96 still was a big day in the office. First guy out on track, and I think one of the last to leave. So we need to do it at the moment. You know, the performance of the bike. You know, it's still not exactly where we want it. I was disappointed by the GP. I again turned a little bit too much into a test rider rather than a GP rider. So I think the main thing of doing this test was to get all of that out of the way and then get everything dialed ready for this weekend. I'm happy to dip into the 32s there at the end of the day, which I was happy with. As you said, I did try a new chassis. And main objective of that is to get a little bit more turning from the bike. I think engine-wise, we're a little bit stronger than the Suzuki and Yamahas, but we're obviously quite a lot slower than the KTMs, the Hondas, and the Ducatis. So we need to still work on corner speed rather than engine grunt at the moment. Hopefully, the engine's going to come a little bit stronger. You know, let's say next year. But that means that right now we need to work on something that turns a little bit nicer. We found a couple of steps, you know, so that's good. Start system played around with for us a little bit. That ride height system, we'd never had that problem before, but we had a couple of problems with that today. So disappointed I wasn't really able to try that, because I think this is a circuit that you know, would help out that type of thing. And then a couple of ideas on suspension, linkages, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I'm happy. 32.5 compared to most guys seems competitive. Maverick blew it out of the park, you know, with that 31.5 there. But yeah, we're a lot closer than we were. just there with my teammate, you know, on the same package. So happy with how the day ended up.
Brad, I didn't warn you. This is a little longer interview than planned. I know you're a good fella to chat to, so hope you don't mind. I'm going to hit you with a couple more questions.
Do it, of course.
The ride height thing, you don't get to try that out on circuit. You only get it for the starts. Is that right, or not?
Yeah. So at the moment, we don't have a system that we can use out on the track. We're still trying to figure that one out. I'd like to be able to use it, but yeah, we're still working with that one. So that will probably be given to Lorenzo Savadori, our test rider, for the next test to see if he can try and get that to work out on the racetrack. So yeah, that's just another whole shot device that we have available, and hopefully in the coming months, maybe even Barcelona, because we're going to do a private test after Barcelona Grand Prix as well. Maybe we can get it dialed there, and then bring that to Le Mans, which will be the next one. So fingers crossed, work in progress.
Brad, your aims for this coming weekend, you know, now that you've done the test, got some things out of the way, is there more to test over race weekend, or do you get to focus on just racing?
No, I really hope I've got the testing out of the way. It was a headache last weekend, and I certainly felt that I was missing a few things. So,
okay, thanks. Oh, sorry, we're all good, guys. Yep. Thank you, Brad, for that long interview.
Yeah, no worries, easy.
Thank you very much to Bradley Smith there. Thanks to Simon. I'm pleased to say that I'm working again now, so you can all hear me. It sounds like they're trying to make as much progress as possible, as quickly as possible. Brad, bless his heart, is having to work overtime. Luckily, he's going to get a chance to focus purely on racing in the coming weekend.
Yeah, he's being a proper test mule right now, isn't he? He's doing a great job, because Aleix Espargaró's talked incessantly that Aprilia are making strides forward, they're making steps forward in the right direction, but it's not enough. The game changes every year, the goalposts get moved, everybody else is not sleeping. So Aprilia working hard behind the scenes. We had a lot of new parts here, didn't they, this weekend, the swing arm, the chassis, the whole shot device. So yeah, they're being busy.
Okay, let's cross over now. I think this is one of the last interviews that we're going to bring you, because we're losing light here. But let's find out now what the views were of the day from Pol Espargaró, the KTM rider. He's with Simon.
Pol, another rider with a very busy test schedule today. Saw a lot of new parts in your garage. Did you improve the bike?
Yeah, we needed. After the side race we did last weekend, we needed to improve something on the bike. Especially, our main goal was the stopping. We were not able to stop the bike as we would. And finally, today working quite a lot with the rear part of the bike, testing different chassis and a lot of parts. I think we did a good job. You know, all the lap times with the race tires, trying to make a lot of long runs to put the tires under some pressure with used tires, pushing by the end, braking late, and yeah, everything seems quite okay. The bike seems to be improved, but you know, just a test with Michelin rubber on the track, it feels much different than Dunlop rubber on the track with the Moto2 and Moto3 guys on the track. So we will see during the next weekend.
That's what I was going to ask, is going into this weekend, is there something else you would like to improve before race day?
Actually, our main goals were to gain some more grip and stability, especially the grip on the entry and stability in the fast corners. I think we get it today. Our pace was fantastic, not a fast lap because we didn't put the proper tires on to make it, but you know, we were focusing on the race pace because it's where we were missing quite a lot. We lost 12 seconds to the top guys, so it is for sure not good, and we were working for that, and I think we solved more or less all the problems. We were pretty fast, but you know, we need to consider that the track today felt much better than on the past weekend, and we need to consider also that the racetrack is going to come in a very similar conditions than the past one, so we need to be ready for everything.
Pol, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Pol Espargaró, his pace was spectacular, it has to be said today, and that bodes well for the weekend. Matt, I'm pleased to say that that's all we've got time for, only because mosquitoes are currently feasting on us and the entire team at this moment in time. But it's been good to get back into the circuit here today. We've got a day off tomorrow, and then we're going to be back at it again. And there's much to look forward to, because once again, it's just so unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 different winners in 6 Grand Prix so far. Maverick Viñales fastest again today, but will he be the fastest man when it really matters at 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon?
Well, that's all we've got time for. Thanks, as ever, earlier on to Matt Dunn, to Amy Reynolds, to Simon, of course, to my colleague here, Matt Burt, from myself, Steve Day, and everyone behind the scenes that you don't see as well. We will be back for press conference on Thursday and all the action with FP1 here in Misano on Friday. See you then.